take a breath. It's just like, One more time. Could you imagine somebody walking down the sidewalk right now? I'm going to go to this church. It sounds like it's pretty interesting. So here we go. Take a breath. I'm going to take a couple of minutes to help us get tuned in from the day. Understand that funk is very important to your spiritual awakening. Funk is very important to your spiritual awakening. And I have 3 sentences I want to say from the Way of Mastery for about 2 or 3 minutes. And we're going to dive into a very deep section tonight. You are awake now. Your dream has not occurred. No separation has occurred. No distance has been traveled. You are awake now. Your dream has not occurred. No separation has occurred. No distance has been traveled. No distance has been traveled. Grace has already restored you. 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 You are free to perceive the real world. You are free to perceive the real world. You are free to perceive the real world. I am awake now. I am awake now. My dream has not occurred. My dream has not occurred. I am awake now. You are awake now. No separation from God has occurred. No separation from each other has occurred. No separation from love has occurred. No separation from love has occurred. No distance has been traveled. 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 Grace has already restored you. Grace has already restored you. You are free to perceive the real world. You are free to perceive the real world. You are free to perceive the real world. You are free. 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 I am 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 free. Join me in telling yourself, those who dare to tell themselves, I am free. I am free. I am free. I am You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas may be quite startling and hard to believe. We're not here to analyze the ideas. It is the use of the ideas, using it, applying it, that will show us that the ideas are true. If you have the book, we're going to be in the way of transformation, part 2 of the book, lesson 20, the second observation exercise. On page 246, in the way of transformation, in the way of mastery. And we're going to start with the paragraph that says, begin to learn how. Begin to learn how. Begin to learn how to observe without embellishment. Begin to learn how to observe without embellishment. What does that mean? It means learn how to observe without interpretation or explanation. Exactly what you're doing for 10 minutes. Then if you go back to being unconscious, by all means do so.
10 minutes is a long time.
That's right. That's right. It's a long time to observe without putting your interpretation on it. He says, in this way, you will begin to discern something that is also going on the whole time, like an underground current or river. For because you are reality. You are reality. You are reality. There is always the desire to extend. What's the 3 things that the way of mastery is always talking about us extending? The good, the holy, and the beautiful. So by observing what you are actually doing, you will discover that you are actually succeeding at that far more often than you give yourself credit for. That you are extending the good, the holy, and the beautiful more than you're probably giving yourself credit for. I don't know how to tell you, but you're probably doing better than you think you are. You're probably doing better than you think you are. So you will begin to see in some of your ordinary smiles, in the decision to take a card and send it to a friend, in the decision to refrain from a hurtful word. How many times have you started to go off and say something where at another time you would have done it, but you caught yourself? See, that's what I'm saying. You're doing better than you think you are. You will begin to discover that that too was birthed from desire within your holy mind. So the proof that we have a mind that's becoming powerful, loving, and holy is that maybe you did. I just got an incredible card just recently from Rachel, Linda's daughter, that she made and created, and she wrote me a beautiful poem that she also wrote. And it really moved me and it touched me. It was beautiful. So in her decision to send me a card, that was birthed from desire within her holy mind. And if you refrain from cussing somebody out this week,
Yes.
you're becoming more spiritual.
All right.
Cheryl.
I did it.
Okay.
I refrained.
You refrained.
Woo.
You refrained. So you will begin to taste that there is a depth to you that is already beyond fear, already beyond illusion, already resting in compassion, love, wisdom, and truth. You're deeper than you think you are. You will begin to discover that you are already having many successes upon which you can build. Many successes that you can acknowledge within yourself as a way of getting the taste, the feel that suddenly Christ, your true self, does dwell in your mind. Love does dwell in your mind. Remember, we're not trying to put love in us. We're not trying to put anything in us. We're trying to remove the blocks to the awareness of the love that's already what we are. So we're not trying to be positive to make ourselves love ourselves. We're just trying to get rid of what keeps us from loving ourselves. The knowing that we already love ourselves. I want to suggest, and there's nothing more important that you can do to make yourself aware of the reality of that than to come together like we're coming together right now, joining together to focus on this together. You don't know how many things didn't happen to you in the last week because we joined once a week. And because you don't know what didn't happen to you, you might be tempted to think nothing really is going on since you've really been coming together doing this. You don't know how many things that you would have ordinarily have created for you that would have been painful that you are not drawing to you or creating to you or creating for you. So I once suggested that you remember only your loving thoughts, but the trick to that is you must first become aware of your loving thoughts in the first place. If I'm going to remember only my loving thoughts, I need to become aware I even got any. Right? Then he says, so many become trapped in what? Depression. Some of you may be feeling trapped right now in depression or anxiety and insanity of the mind. The three stooges of ego. Depression, anxiety, and insanity. Because they put all of their energy into perceiving what is amiss and no energy into perceiving their success. So if you're depressed right now, if you feel anxiety right now, if you feel insanity right now, then you're putting your energy in seeing what's wrong. And you're not putting any energy in seeing what's right. So in each 10-minute practice period, learn to develop the ability to observe what you are really doing, what you're really doing. So when you stop at your coffee shop on the way to your job and you go in and you get some money to that person who gives you your cup of coffee, look at them in the eye and say thank you, and you've succeeded. Mm. 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 If you said thank you, you have communicated truth. You have remembered that the one in front of you is holding words of your respect and love, and that's success. Now, I'm going to jump further ahead. I think I covered that last week. So I'm going to jump ahead to seize the opportunity to discipline the mind. Let's show you how good we remember what we covered. Because some of that sounded totally new to me. Like I'd never heard it before. Anybody else that was here? It's like, we covered that. Like, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Every time I pick up a book.
Yeah.
Well, we covered
Thank you.
most of that too, Earl.
You covered most of seize the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. And where did we get to? Do you see my little marker? Okay, what am I really desiring? We'll start there. Since nobody remembers anyway, what difference does it make?
Where is that?
It's not like, okay, I've already covered that. I don't remember any of this, so.
We gotta hear it over and over and
Yeah.
over.
Now, that kind of gives us some idea of what we need to do, right?
Yeah.
We need to hear it over and over and over and over and over and over. So what am I really desiring is on page 248. Okay. And I want to ask you, what are you really desiring? Not do I wish I were desiring, but what do you really desire? You answer that question by remembering that everything is a neutral event, everything is just a learning experience. Separation doesn't exist, the truth is true always, death is unreal. God, you a pure spirit, time is just a context, the world is harmless, you can't be a victim, you are free, the atonement is over, your ascension is complete. Thank you very much.
Can we do like a week-long seminar just on that paragraph?
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to say it again.
One paragraph.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the truth is, separation doesn't exist. If the truth is true, it's always true. Death is unreal. You are pure spirit. Time is just a context. The world is harmless. You cannot be a victim. You are free. The atonement, which is the correction of error, is over. The ascension is complete.
Woo!
That's the truth about us.
Yeah.
Now,
Nice to hear that.
yeah, I love that. Separation doesn't exist. The truth is true always. Death is unreal. You are pure spirit. Time is just a context. The world is harmless. You can't be a victim. You are free. The atonement is over. The ascension is completed. Would anybody care to say which one of those sentences to them seems to be the most untrue or the hardest to believe? Separation doesn't exist. The truth is always true. Death is unreal. You are spirit. The world is harmless. You cannot be a victim ever. You are free. The atonement is over. Your ascension is completed.
So the challenge for me, Raj, is that I can read that it's completed,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still experiencing the experience.
Right. Right.
And there's a
Okay.
part of my mind that knows that it's completed, and I'm still innocent and experiencing the experience.
And that's why I love how one of
So
the
that's
truth.
hard. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but one of the truth books says that you're supposed to look at it like, you know, there's a fan going and you unplug it, the blade keeps going around for a while before it stops.
Yeah.
So if you focused on the truth and you're willing to recognize your innocence and you're focusing on your oneness and you're no longer wanting to see yourself as a victim, then you've actually done what's necessary to undo all blocks. But you're still in the habit of looking at it and seeing it, even though you pulled the plug on it. And so our temptation is to think that we haven't changed because
Yeah.
we're still seeing those things. Just like you'd have the temptation to think the fan wasn't unplugged because you still saw the blade going around. So if you looked at it like you really have changed your mind, that you really are awakened because you're taking responsibility for your experience, and then realize that all the things that you're seeing every day is the blade still going around before it stops, then you wouldn't take all the stuff so seriously that it looks like you're experiencing that you used to experience before you thought you got into the truth. That change of perspective would change your emotional responses to everything that's going on. So you have awakened. You are learning to see things differently. It just so happens that we're not giving ourselves the joy of that realization yet, because we're still doing what he said earlier. We're interpreting and explaining and still looking at things based on what we learned before we studied this, instead of realizing that you pulled the plug the minute you stopped wanting to see yourself as a victim, and in the minute you started to want to see yourself as the creator of your experience.
The other thing I do really well, Raj, is the world is harmless, right? That's what it's saying. But I continue to choose to turn on CNN 6 times a day so that I can see that the world's harmful, right? So I continue to join with the illusion.
Well, that's what he's saying, that all that's doing is giving you an opportunity to remember that that's a neutral event and a learning experience. Because you're not going to become enlightened by avoiding looking at what your own mind is projecting and doing. You know, putting your head in the sand is not going, if you stand in the middle of a railroad track and a train is coming, you're not going to keep yourself from being hit by putting your hands over your eyes. And that's what most truth students try to do. They think somehow or another by not looking at it, somehow or another that means it's not happening. And then that's why it happens to them. Just like the person would get hit by the train, they put their hands over their eyes but stayed in the middle of the railroad track. So pretending that you don't have anger, guilt, and fear still fading away in your own mind or separation is not going to change your mind. You know that you've changed when you can look at everything in the world that's going on and being unaffected by it. That's when you know you're getting it. When you don't lose your peace about what you see on CNN. Not avoiding CNN, it's great entertainment. To me, all of it is turned into just this incredible drama and entertainment. We're doing so great, we're making the light go out.
Exactly.
That show you that we really deep.
Whoa.
Okay.
So Earl, I just want to say something real quick. When you said about the fan being unplugged and going slow, and I guess this is what I need to work on is my impatience, because I'm like, well, when am I going to get to the point where the fan is fully stopped? And
when you're patient, infinite patience produces immediate effects.
Oh, gosh.
So if you're truly patient, you get an immediate result. Because if you are patient, you're certain of the outcome. If you're certain of the outcome, you have no fear. If you have no fear, you have no blocks.
even though I still see the blade going.
Yeah, but you also see the plug is out of the socket.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that's the plug out. That's just like me getting upset because the blade's still going around, even though I know I pulled it. I can see that I pulled it out of the plug. I'm going, why is the blade going around? You know, it's like, that.
Yeah.
That's why it keeps telling us we've got to be willing to look at it differently. You got to look at it like it's been unplugged and the blade's going to stop. The impatience means you don't see it that way. The Course in Miracles teaches that patience is an abundant willingness. It's patience. Like when I wanted to learn how to play a saxophone, somebody looking at me, learning how to do that would say, "Boy, you had a lot of patience to learn the fingering on the saxophone." No, I didn't. It was more like I had a great willingness to play saxophone, and out of my willingness to play saxophone, it looked like patience. So the Course says patience is abundant willingness. So we're impatient because we don't have the willingness to do what the book is telling us to do. Mm-hmm. The people who are most impatient are the people who practice the truth the least.
What did you say that again?
The people who are most impatient are the ones who are practicing what this book is saying the least. Okay. The people who are most frustrated, feeling like nothing's changing, they're the ones who don't believe what it's saying and also don't have a lot of willingness to do what it's saying. But they have a lot of willingness to complain about what's not happening because they don't have any willingness to do it. So patience is willingness, and then he also says, like I said, infinite patience produces immediate effects. Because if you're infinitely patient, you have no fear because you're certain of the outcome. Like I'm beginning to get a certainty that I'll always have people in my life who love and appreciate me. So therefore I don't seek relationships the way I did when I doubted that. So I can be patient between friendships that show up or relationships that show up or people that come to the class. I trust the Holy Spirit will send people who would benefit through what the Holy Spirit does through me. That's why you don't get 1,000 emails a week with me trying to get you to come to the class or get you to come to a workshop or any of the stuff, the marketing that you see most people do. Because I believe in the God. So therefore, I don't feel like I got this enormous responsibility to try to get people to come to my classes so I can be taken care of, so I can teach. So the more you have faith, the more patience you have. And I'm not saying I'm 100% there, but I'm definitely better than I used to be. Like you said, we're all better than we used to be. So this is what I want to do. I want to cover some material, then I want to open up the questions, because I know from experience that if I don't do it that way, we won't get through any of it. So I'm truly going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. but I really want to make sure we move forward in the material too. So in about 5 minutes, I'll throw it open for questions and discussion. Is that cool?
Yeah.
That's my purpose in doing that, because I've been doing this a little while. I know what happens. We get through 3 sentences and we won't hear any more of it. Okay. Then it goes on to say that once you get the message, get on with it. Once you get the message, get on with it. And then you could say, well, what does it mean, get on with it? Choose to bring the reality into the dance of the shadow, which is CNN, for example, called this world. I think there's not enough love in the world. That I don't see enough love expressed. Right? So guess what? I'll be it.
Yes.
I'm not waiting for anybody else to be it. I'll be peaceful.
Yeah.
I won't attack anybody. I'll take responsibility for my experience. I'll trust that Spirit is in charge of my life. I will bring the reality into my world. That's what it means by getting on with it. You become the thing that you think is missing. Most of my brothers and sisters are waiting. They're waiting for the perfect person to show up. They're waiting for the perfect job to show up. They're waiting. They're not being. So he says, for what does it do to pray for freedom in the future? Isn't everything to abide in freedom right now? One last thing about desire. The egoic mind is made up of attraction and aversion, judgment, either acceptance or aversion, or hatred even. For example, you can reduce it to, I think this is right, and I think this is wrong, and I think this is good, and I think this is bad. Be willing to embrace and accept the results of what you have desired. What does that mean? It means what we would do would be, okay, whatever I'm experiencing right now, it is the result of what I have desired. Even if I didn't realize I was desiring it, I'm going to accept that. How do you know when you've accepted that you are experiencing what you have desired? You won't feel depression, you won't feel anxiety, and you won't feel insane. So if you're full of depression and you're full of anxiety, you are actually not taking responsibility for what you are perceiving and how you're perceiving it. But it doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you're not seeing correctly. That's all. Okay, now.
You kind of answered my question on the CNN kind of topic. Whenever I'm listening to NPR or like the jazz station over the week, and it comes to that like, and now about the Zika virus, I'm like, turn the volume down. And what you said was, don't be the person that's putting your head in the sand. Just understand that it's neutral. And
it's a learning experience.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. So like I'm attaching what I see to past experiences.
Right.
And so you said become the thing that you think is missing, essentially lead by example.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. I'm a control freak, and I found out the most incredible thing recently. It's easier to control me
Who'd have thought?
than anybody else. So I still get my chance to be a control freak, but I'm doing it where it has effect. And I'm loving the feeling of it. It's like the best feeling. Rather than trying to get rid of my desire to control, Spirit said, well, let me show you how to use that desire in a way that will actually give you the result you want. So I love how Spirit takes however I already am and then shows me how to use the way I already am in a way that frees me. That's a lot easier than spending all my... In other words, if I get angry, how can my anger be used to free me?
Wow.
Rather than to spend all day trying not to get angry,
Right, sure.
why don't you give me another way to look at it that it will free me? Like telling me what it really is. Well, I'm angry because I'm attempting to make myself or somebody else feel guilty. He says I'm angry because something or somebody is not acting out my script. That's why I'm angry. That's the only reason why anybody gets angry. They made up their mind how it should be, and it's not going that way. So if you were to say I'm angry, but the truth is, I'm trying to make somebody feel guilty enough to do what I want them to do. That's what my anger is about. It's trying to control them. Then it would give me another perception of my anger. Or if I say it to myself that my anger is you not acting out my script. And if you say that, there's always a part of you that goes, wait a minute. They're not here to act out my script. You're not in this room to act out my script. And if I make my happiness dependent on you acting out my script, I will never be happy. So I've just effectively zeroed out my happiness by expecting any of you to do my script. Now here's the paradox. When you start to wake up spiritually, you're going to flip it and you're going to go, everybody's acting out my script. And that's the paradox of truth. You're all acting and treating me exactly the way I want you to. And I'm upset because you're not acting exactly the way I want you to. Some of y'all can get that paradox because we're doing it all the time. You know. So that's why you're never a victim, because everybody, we're all in telepathic communication with each other beneath our conscious awareness. So there's a conversation we're having with each other right now beneath the conversation we're having with each other right now. And that conversation beneath our conversation, that's the one that's telling us how we should treat each other. That's deep. So you'll get to the point that you will talk to people without talking to them so that you can really communicate with them by letting your higher self, which is communicate with their higher self, which is the same one. And then you let their higher self control their ego, and your higher self control yours. But you can't reach them ego to ego, personality to personality. But your Holy Spirit can communicate with their Holy Spirit because it's one spirit. So you'll get to the point you'll be communicating with people at another level and not the personality level, because that's the slowest way to get things done. Anybody else? Okay, so we telepathically tell each other not to say anything. Okay, so we'll go on. I don't know about you, but even if I don't believe that there was a line in the Course of Love that said, even if none of this is true, you still, it's at the very least, it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
So it's worth it just because it makes you feel better.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's enough right there to do it. And I thought that was a brilliant statement. This makes me feel better. That's enough. And the fact that it's true, that's the ultimate bonus. Because it is true.
That's why when you were talking, when you were saying about assignments, I was just feeling it.
You were feeling it?
I was just feeling it.
Well, just imagine that a Pisces just feel it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. I know, I'm a feeler. Yeah, I'm much more a feeler than I'm an intellectual. It's not real to me if I don't feel it. You know, if I'm around somebody and I don't feel them, then I know at some level I'm shut down. You know, because it just means I'm shut down. It doesn't mean that they are. It means I am. I used to think it meant they were. Yeah.
So, I'm still pondering what you said about Holy Spirit uses the way I am to free me. That just blew me away, because it's like, oh, then Holy Spirit could actually use my perfectionism and my need to analyze and figure things out. He could use that to free me, and I don't know how he's gonna do it, but yeah, I feel that.
But Spirit is doing it, because that's why you're in the class, and that's why you're really focusing in on what I'm saying, and that's why you're trying to really get clear about it. So the Holy Spirit is actually using your desire to analyze, and the flip side of analyze is discern, or sorting out. So Virgo likes to sort things out. So what is the truth doing? It's using your desire to sort things out to say, let's sort out what's true from what's false. Let's sort out how you can recognize love as opposed to fear. You see what I'm saying? So again, your everything about you is set up the way that it is so that you can win.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 Everything about you, everything is set up for your awakening, the perfect way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And you're cute.
Oh,
So,
well, thank you.
no, your energy, your love, your laughter heals. You know, it's a joy and a pleasure to have you in this room.
That's right.
I agree.
That's right. So there. Foiled again. You're a failure at being unloved. Failure again, Chris. You're just always failing, man. All right, I'm gonna go on. Anybody got anything else they want to say? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Somebody's got something. All right. When you dip your spoon into your ice cream, your spiritual test is to enjoy it. Embrace it as the effects of your desire. I'm having this ice cream because what's happening right now, Earl? I'm having the effect of my desire. Lick, 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 lick. Right? And when you buy an automobile that breaks down, train yourself to embrace the automobile breaking down and enjoy it, especially if you got AAA. Just like the ice cream. Notice that you handle a car breakdown better when you know the mechanic is on the way. Why? Because you're certain of the outcome. So it gives you patience to just sit there and wait for the guy to come to help you fix the flat. Every time you're certain about the outcome, you have patience. When you're not certain about the outcome, that's when you're impatient. That's why the Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery has this brilliant way that it's doing by saying, you're going to succeed. There's no way you're not going to wake up and recognize you're totally whole and complete and loved. That's the end of the movie. It's certain. Now you're going to see what you did to get there. And that's what you call your day-to-day experience. It's the things you went through to get to the point that you recognize your perfection. But you're destined to love yourself completely. You're destined. Say it's my fate to be happy. It's my fate to be happy. It's my fate to be happy. Yeah, I don't have any choice about that. Love is my absolute destination. It's where I'm going. It's what's going to happen. Why? Because that which is in charge of the process is that which cannot fail. The fear comes from you being in charge of the process. The fear comes from you being in charge of the process. All your fear is coming from you thinking you're in charge of the process and you don't know how to be successful at it. Not only am I thinking I'm in charge, I don't know what the heck to do. That's where the unhappiness is coming from. So that's why you can always tell when you're really paying attention to spirit and when you still are in charge. Fear. I know exactly the areas of my life where I'm still not surrendered. And you do too. It's every area you feel frustrated and unsatisfied in. Every one of them.
Yeah, I had an interesting experience today with this part here, which I read a while ago, and I remembered it when I was trying to print something, and my printer, I always look at my printer as screwing up. Sort of.
Your printer is Satan.
Yeah, it is. So anyway,
Everybody know printers.
So I started to print an important document that I had to get out.
Yeah.
And it printed 4 pages, and the thing said it was 7 pages. So it would print 4 pages, and then 3 would squirt out blank. And I started getting really upset. And then I remembered this thing, I was like swearing at the printer. I was really getting upset. I really needed this document. And I thought, well, I'm supposed to really have fun with this, and and this is just something. So I did. It was hard, but I did, and it just kept spitting out 3 pages. And I said, well, where am I having fun here? And then I looked, and I realized that in the original document, those pages were blank.
What a great lesson.
And I
What a
started to
great
laugh
lesson.
like crazy.
Yeah, but that's a great, I mean, so it actually was not malfunctioning.
Right.
You thought it was.
Right. It was
And
my
then you
entire-
made yourself upset about what wasn't even happening.
Right.
Do we ever do that?
Never.
Wow, whoever does that? The Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery is saying that's what's happening in every situation that we're upset. It's just what you just experienced.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really, I mean, I just started, first I said, you idiot, then I just started laughing. It was so funny.
And if you want to learn how to embrace things that look like they were not going the way you wanted them to, so that you could learn how to be unaffected by them, what could be a better place to be than here? I mean, we set it up where we would have the perfect school to learn how to not get upset about stuff that seems to upset us. We set this up. Earth is a school. You're off at school like going off to college. Death is you going back home. That's all. What we call death is you've been off at school, we've been off at school, and then we go back to our original place. And we call it death. That's the only thing that's happening. So to be in school and not to expect to be learning is crazy. Why else did you come to school if it wasn't something you wanted to learn? I just come to school to party. That's what I do. I thought college was for party. That's what I thought. But anyway, I got a doctorate in it. Party, PhD, partying hard and desperately. Why? I love that. Why? For a very simple reason. He says, if the egoic mind judges things as right or wrong, if you judge the ice cream as good, but the breaking down of the car is bad, what mind holds power over you? Are you free in that moment? Instead, embrace and enjoy. Oh, my car broke down. Oh, but man, that's such a beautiful sunset. I think I might as well sit here and let the stars come out. After all, I really wasn't going anywhere anyway. Like, if you really think about it, basically the places that we're rushing to most of the time is basically pretty meaningless anyway, in terms of our salvation. You know. So everything is mind. Mind is everything. So you're looking at your mind. When you look around the room, you're looking at your mind. This is your mind. Everything you see is in your mind. See and in is in your mind. Everybody in this room is in the one mind. We're only looking at what's in our mind. That's the only thing we're seeing right now. So you know you have some loving thoughts in your mind. You know you have some thoughts in your mind that want to be more awake, want to be more conscious, want to be more giving, more. Why? Because you're looking at your thoughts. Wow. Oh, God. It's hard to stay depressed and read this. Foiled again. And going slow is deadly. So if you truly desire more than believing in Christ, your true self, you must assume responsibility for what? Transforming the mind. How? By using your very ordinary moments to see things differently. So transforming the mind is me being in ordinary situations like this and being determined to see them differently. That's transforming the mind. And he says you are then reshaping how you use your mind in every moment. and you will come to taste profound freedom. Now, what is it? There's regular freedom, and then there's profound freedom. I want to go for profound freedom. That's a freedom that will carry you instantly beyond the things of time and space. I want to be so free that I'm beyond the things in the world, that I'm beyond time and space. Actually, time and space are the same thing. The further something is away from you, you think of it in terms of time. The closer it is to you, you think of it in terms of space. And let me give you an example. I live 10 minutes from the church. Notice that I'm talking in terms of time. If I was on the porch, I would say I'm a few feet from the door. So the closer you get to something, you think of it in terms of space. And the further you're away from something, you think of it in terms of time. So time and space are the same freaking thing. That's why they're not real. But they will seem to be arising within you and passing away within you. Universes rising and passing away within the holy mind of Christ. And Christ is nothing but your true self as you were created by the Creator. That's what it means when it says Christ. The one self we all share. That is the great gift given unto you. What are you worthy of desiring the most? You will indeed discover and create your pathway to your own consummate awakening. So you're going to discover and you're going to create your own pathway to your awakening. So what does that mean? It means that there is nothing that you are experiencing your whole life as part of your evolution that was not co-created and designed by you. I am not in a black body by accident. I am not in a male body by accident. I was not born to the parents I was born to by accident. Everything was prearranged before I ever entered the body to provide me with the maximum and the best experiences I could have for my awakening. I'm a man, quote unquote, because that's what I chose to be for my awakening. I'm a black man in the body because that's what I chose for my awakening. It's no accident you're your sex or your gender or where you were born or the family you were born into or the country you were born into. You chose it all. You were born in the social economic situation that you were in because that was the best one for your spiritual evolution. And some people were born with silver spoons in their mouth because that's the best situation they needed for their spiritual evolution. We chose it. And it's a total commitment. So once you make that choice, then you have to live with it. But it wasn't something that was thrust upon you because your parents did the wild thing. So you just happened to be here because the sperm was active. That's the truth. That's the truth. Seems way out. But if we have choice, we always had choice. It didn't just start because we started to read these books. So people who are unconscious, that still don't mean they're not creating their reality just because they're not aware of it. It's just more painful because they're not aware of it, because they're always getting upset about things they themselves are creating and not taking responsibility for. That's all unconscious means. And we know a lot of them. And I'm that way sometimes, aren't you? Yeah. Every time you're angry, every time you're depressed, every time you have anxiety, you're being irresponsible. But you're not bad. You just are not claiming your power. That's not a sin. You could go for the gusto, according to this stuff, and go, the part of me that loves me, that's called the Holy Spirit, the part of me that does know the truth, the part of me that does know it's innocent, the part of me that knows it's free and abundant, I would like you to create my reality. And you stop trying to create it through the fearful self that doesn't know what the hell is going on. But you have to take the time to establish a relationship with that part of yourself that we call God or the divine. But most people, again, they won't take the time to create the communication and get rid of the blocks to let the part of them that loves them create their reality. That's sad. It could be so much easier for all of us than we make it. But we know how the movie's gonna turn out, right? So that means we know we're gonna stop doing it and we're gonna let it happen one day. That's good news. You cannot lose. 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 Can it look like you can lose? Yeah, but you can't.
It's like a Western, the good guy always wins in the end, right?
That's right. And you're the good guy. You are the good guy. All right. Any thoughts, questions about what we just heard? Any comments?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was deep.
I'm curious about, well, I noticed that when I get really upset, there's a building being built next to my work, and it's this really, really, really big building. And I noticed that it's really irritating me. The height of it, I could justify why it is that it really pisses me off. And so I'm noticing my response to this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm giving all of my peace away. And so I've been like, oh, okay, this is a call for love. This is a call for love. This is a huge call for love. Help me. And I'm just curious, based on this material that we've rapped about today, what is like, when I notice that it's that like trigger point where I can choose either to give my peace away or not, is there something from the material that we spoke to today that I can say to myself that can give me that other perspective, which is peace?
Embrace it and enjoy it. My car just broke down. Oh, that building sucks. Oh, but there's such a beautiful sunset. What else could you be thinking about other than the building?
Yeah. There's an awesome river that I get to walk over.
Right, because the only reason, the reason why you're feeling bad is because we said you're choosing to focus on the building.
Okay, yeah.
Right, it's always our focus and the meaning we're giving, right? So, and also, remember, it also tells us over and over again to embrace everything we feel. So, embrace the fact that you don't like it. Embrace the fact that a part of you feels like you can't accept it, because that's just the way you feel. But the building is neutral. The event of the building being built is neutral. And he says we're never upset for the reason we think. So we know that the building is a cover for what you're really upset about. Which has, which don't have nothing to do with the building. The real reason we're upset, according to this stuff, is our sense of separation from God. That we don't feel connected to love. That we are not connected to source. That we're not feeling whole on the inside. And everything else is a distraction to keep us from focusing on letting go, learning how to let go of that block. That's the core thing. But, and so if I say I'm never upset for the reason I think, if I can keep reminding myself that the building being there is neutral and I'm the one that's upsetting myself about it, the advantage of that is just like anything else. If you say it to yourself enough, you'll accept the truth that you're the one that's making you upset, and guess what? You'll just simply stop. That's what's so deep. Is that it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you realize you're using the wrong key to get in the door, and you're getting frustrated, and all of a sudden you go, oh, I'm using the wrong key. The minute you recognize it, you stop. That's why you always tell yourself, I'm making a mistake, and you don't make it, it's good or bad. You know what I mean? It's like, if you say I feel guilty about something, the Course says that you just guaranteeing you're going to do it again. Feeling guilty doesn't do anything but make a person do it again. But if you say it won't work, then you'll stop. It won't work for me to keep choosing the same kind of partners. It won't work for me to keep using the same approach to relationships. It won't work for me to keep using the same approach to my abundance. He says when you say it doesn't work, the mind stops. But if you embellish it and you put a judgment on it, and then you go, I feel guilty. Think about how many things you felt guilty about that you've done over and over. And you know what I'm saying is the truth.
Yep.
When you make somebody feel guilty, like I watch people in relationships and how they try to use guilt to manipulate the other person. And they don't know they're pretty much guaranteeing that that person's going to continue to do whatever it is you're trying to make them feel guilty about. And they don't even know it. The only thing is they'll hide it from you better. They won't change. They'll just they'll try to make sure you don't know about it better. Because when you attack somebody for telling you the truth about something, then they just not want to tell you the truth anymore. It doesn't mean they're not going to do it anymore. You just kill them feeling safe enough to tell you what they're doing. If you don't attack somebody for what they share with you, they'll feel safe to share more and more with you. I'd much rather be aware if I can. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, well I'm telling you, you keep attacking people for telling you the truth, and they're gonna hide from you. Because they're gonna want peace more than they're gonna want to be honest with you. They got a choice between listening to your mouth and not saying anything. They're probably gonna go for not saying anything. People want peace. Right?
Yeah, that was just interesting with what Paris said, because just a couple of days ago, I was talking to somebody and she was also bitching about a building being built. And you know, it was sort of, who knows what aesthetic you want to put on it. But all of a sudden I said to her, well, yeah, but think of all the people that are employed and getting paychecks to go home that are building this building. If it wasn't for that in the building.
Okay, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
You chose to change your focus.
Yeah,
And in
was
changing
neat to
your
see it a different
focus,
way, yeah.
you changed your emotional response.
Yeah.
I know. See, if you're a control freak and you really get that you can do that and you can get a different experience, then you do it really quick because you like to be in control. But most people think that's about making sure the building doesn't get built.
Right.
They don't think, no, you change your perception of the building being built. That's where your peace is going to come from, unless you actually the owner of the building and you got something to say about it. It'd be best for you to just change your mind or do your petition, but even do that peacefully.
I also think it's really interesting though that like I can reflect on the time that I've spent about how it is that I can sort of destroy this building.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's gotta be hackers to go in there, like all it's electronic, you know. I spent like time and energy focusing on how this like destroyed. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if I spent that time changing my mind about how I was, interacting with it, then
Is it
that
commercial or residential?
It's, it's commercial.
So there's a lot of new people that are gonna move in there that are gonna give you business opportunities for your business.
I know. But I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm insane. I'm really insane.
Well, so are we.
So are we.
But we're cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just had this realization about the building and what came through it, and that the building is so neutral, and some people might be upset with it that's huge, and some people might love it that it's huge, and it's not really about the building. And then the point that it says in the course about I'm never upset for the reason I think. I've heard that, I know that, I've heard it forever. And this time it had like an extra click, like if I know that that I'm always upset because I'm seeing a separation, and I know that the separation isn't true, then there's really nothing to ever be upset about. That the movie always works. It doesn't mean I don't have those feelings that come up, but if I can actually look at it from the space of the truth, it's like, whoa, this is all just it's all, whoa, the building's going up to give me this kind of feeling. I had a breakdown in my car the other day, and I met a cutie, and so.
She's always changing her perception.
There's a blessing in there somewhere.
And you can always say stuff like, I'm making myself feel upset about the building being built. I'm making myself, see, that's how I try to preface everything. I'm making myself so upset about this right now. So then I get a chance to be honest about the feeling I'm having without repressing it, but I'm also empowering myself because I'm telling myself I'm making myself, right. So that way I don't have to pretend I don't feel upset, you know. So I'm not making myself sick, which is what repression does. And at the exact same time, I'm empowering myself because I'm telling myself, I'm making myself mad at you. I'm making myself feel lonely. I'm keeping myself in this situation. That's all you have to do. And if you do it long enough, your mind goes, well, stop it. And you just stop. He talks about your awakening. It's not going to be some fireworks and some dramatic deal. He says it's going to be like opening your eyes in the morning when you wake up. It's going to be simple. You might be in King Super and all of a sudden you get it. So don't be looking for like, one day you'll just realize you're not doing what you used to do. You're not acting the way you used to act. And you're not seeing things the way you used to see it. And your whole world is becoming more loving towards you than you can ever would have imagined. And it seems like you in two different worlds. It seems like you're in a different world from the people around you. It will literally seem like you're in a totally, you hear them complaining and talking about all the stuff that they're going through, and that is not your experience, but it used to be. And you know, if you could change your mind, you know they could change their mind. And then you want to be the example, but at the same time, you're honoring them enough to let them stay the way they are as long as they think they need to. That's why nobody's forcing us into enlightenment. Notice that there are no spiritual police forcing us to study nothing. That's what you're supposed to be about your friends and your relatives and everybody else. Leave them alone. Let them be exactly as they are, because they could be another way and they're choosing not to. And if it's anybody for you to help, Spirit will direct them to you. And in most cases, when you help people the most, you don't even know you're doing it. They will change their life watching you, and you may not ever know you had that kind of effect on them. So your only responsibility, according to this stuff, is to accept this for yourself. Every time you put your focus on somebody else, like I have people who want to come to a class to fix their partner, or to try to get their mother to change, rather than, okay, I'm here so I can accept this for myself. If I'll just accept this for myself, that's all that's required. Period. Period. Because nobody grabbed you and forced you to do it. So why would you think you needed to force somebody else to do it? And there are plenty of people that'll be glad to receive it from you. And they can only receive it from you. They'll be sent to you. That's the beauty of it. The most common comment I get online from people that watch my videos is this: the way you do it, I resonate to it. The way you express yourself, I can hear it. And so that's true for everybody in here. And you don't have to be like an official teacher. There's somebody who, the way you are, that's exactly the kind of person they'd like to have a relationship with. The way you already are. You don't have to change for somebody that loves you. You only are being asked to change by a person that's not taking responsibility for their own happiness. They're looking for you to be a way that makes them happy. Because if you were really dissatisfied with it, you'd be changing it yourself. Notice how you can be perfectly okay with yourself until you get in a relationship, and then all of a sudden the way you are isn't okay. But you were pretty chilled out with you before they showed up, right? Yeah. It's like I didn't have a problem with the way I am till I met you, and then all of a sudden this needs to change about me and that needs to change about me. And well, you're not taking any responsibility for your own experience. That's why people who are conscious seem like they're cold to people who are unconscious. They call them selfish, and that you're not trying to, make me happy, because they are not taking responsibility for their own experience. And so, and then you say, I'm gonna teach you the best way to be. I'm absolutely not gonna change myself so that I won't perpetuate this false idea you have that I need to change for you to be happy. Try it. What they'll do if they're not ready to assume responsibility for their happiness is they will get rid of you. And that'll free you up and create a vacuum so that the person that actually can appreciate you will show up, because nature, the universe, abhors a vacuum. So you gotta create the space for your perfect friendships and relationships to show up by refusing to compromise your principles of who you are. That's not the same as compromising on who watches a television show. I'm saying don't compromise about what and who you are, your core values for anybody. Because there are other choices. If you're not okay, they can choose somebody else. But when people believe in lack, and they think it's not enough, and they think it's not available, they find one person that they think might sort of fit what they're looking for, and spend all their time trying to mold and reshape that person into the person that they want, because they believe there's an abundance of love out there for them.
Yeah.
And a conscious being just doesn't put up with it. Love waits on welcome, not on time. Love is not going to force itself on anybody. You're going to be irresistible to who loves you. They won't be able to resist you. And that's a great feeling.
I find a lot, as I start to catch myself doing things, sometimes I'll be sitting and I'll be talking to somebody and they'll go off on one of the things that I used to like to
Don't
do.
mumble, please.
Okay, they'll go
can
off
so
on
people
one of the
can
things.
hear. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, it's
Yeah,
people
no,
can't hear.
I hear, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I find a lot that recently that sometimes I'll be around somebody and they'll start to go off on just the same kind of negative jags that I would like to go off on. And I guess as long as I'm hearing it, that's still part of me as well. But I'm also finding it a little intolerable at the same time. And I just wonder, how do you handle that?
Well, we just got to talk about though. Look at it another way, embrace it, accept it, and realize if you set it up, nobody's ever irritating you. You are irritating you.
No, I'm realizing, that's how I used to.
Right.
How I used to
But
talk, or how I still
at
do
the
a lot.
point, if it still irritates you, you're still that way.
Okay.
It's not the way you used to be.
Right.
If you're
That's the way I
being
am.
that way now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's really that simple. Isn't that crazy? It's really that, the only reason why you can upset me is because I'm seeing something that I'm still doing.
Okay.
If I really wasn't doing it anymore, you couldn't upset me doing it. If it's still a part of my own ego nature, then I'm irritated. That's why sometimes when you are upset, everybody won't let you be upset. You know how sometimes if you're upset and you're saying you don't feel good or you're mad, everybody pounces on you to tell you how you ought to feel and the right way to look at it, and you should be looking at it. It's because you're triggering their own fear that they have that they're repressing and pretending that they don't have. If they didn't also have the same level of depression and anxiety, you could complain all day long. They would sit there, stay perfectly peaceful, and let you say everything that you're feeling. But if you try to say one little thing that sounds the least bit negative and everybody jumps on you, they don't want to be reminded of their own misery.
So
That's why they do it.
So what I need to do is when I start feeling that way, just realize I'm just printing blank pages here.
Yeah, and realize that you're not upset about them at all. You're upset because you're seeing something that's not there. You're still thinking you're separate from source. You're still thinking that they're responsible for how you feel. It's just your way of knowing you're tricking yourself again.
So is it a progression to start to understand?
Absolutely.
That I'm realizing it?
Yeah, you're doing it now. You're doing it now. The fact, a pattern that you are aware of is a pattern that's done. You know, it's over. You may not, just like the fan blade.
Okay.
If you were really, if your pattern really has you, you don't know it. A person who's really in control of their ego is in control of them, they don't know it. They don't see it. But if you can step back and go, I'm the one that's making myself mad right now, you made 90% of the enlightening realization that you need to make. The fact that you are doing that. Just be patient. Just think about it, y'all. We are trying to undo lifetimes worth of programming. It's not true. And if you don't believe in many lifetimes, just go this one. Think about how little you hear what we're talking about tonight versus how much you hear the exact opposite of this, and you've been hearing it your whole life. TV, radio, friends, parents. It's amazing that we're even here. What is it that even made us be interested in even doing this? There's no reason, logically, that we should even be in a class like this, even listening to any of this. So it must have been something within you that got triggered enough to make you want to do this. And that same internal trigger is in everybody. Everybody's got an internal alarm clock that's going to go off that makes them go, I've had enough. There must be a better way. I'm not going to fight the truth anymore. I've had enough. Wow. Okay. All right.
There you go.
Settle
I'm making myself See, and the Holy Spirit voice said, just look at it like it was omen. Just look at it differently. All right. Let's acknowledge us. We did it tonight. We did good. We did good. Let me tell you something. The truth can be sobering. Okay? So that's okay. If you find that sometimes, because when it really hits you, what you're doing to yourself, it's sobering. It takes a minute to go, you mean, really? I'm the one? Now you're free. Because you have help. So he says it in the book, he says, then you realize God isn't doing it to you. He says, then you realize your brothers and sisters are not doing it to you. And since you finally getting that nobody's doing it to you, including your creator, he says, well then now you can turn to your creator and you can turn to your brothers and sisters for help. That's the beauty. If you're not my enemy, now we can turn to each other and we can help each other because I'm no longer holding you responsible for what I'm going through. So now we can help each other. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. There are so many people that wish they were around people like us who are doing this stuff. I talk to them every day. They would give anything to have a group of people they could join with who are weird like us.
All right.
Thank you for sharing with me. I really appreciate that. I really, really do. Online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. Full-time sharer of this stuff. Thank you so much. And I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions. And I'll work with you personally on whatever it is you think you'd like to finally let go of once and for all. So go to my website. It explains it totally. And we can do it together. Skype, on the phone, in person if you're local. Oh, yeah. My goodness. Sunday's the way of mastery. It's a Course in Miracles. And let's see. Is there anything that anybody heard tonight that really impacted them enough that they don't mind saying what it was out loud so that they can remember it better?
Holy Spirit uses the way I am to free me.
The Holy Spirit uses the way you are to free you. Wouldn't it be great, Chris, to have somebody love you exactly the way you are? And then you all evolve together from where you are. I want to give you that gift, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, I do that for you. You do that for me?
Absolutely, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Patience is abundant willingness. The people who practice the truth or an instrument are the most patient. If you have infinite patience, you'll see immediate results.
Right. I love that. Isn't that a great line?
That's
Infinite
right.
patience produces immediate results. That's deep. Thank you.
Accept it for yourself.
Yeah. Now, my one responsibility is to accept the truth for me. And the weird part about that is when you accept it for yourself and the world is a reflection of the attitudes you have towards yourself, it'll look like all of a sudden so many people in your world would change. And the ones who don't change, the reason why they don't change is so you can learn how to give yourself peace around people who don't change. Because you got to learn how to give yourself peace even when you're around people who don't seem to be doing it the way you do. So there'll be certain relatives and friends that just look like they just don't change no matter how much you study. Because they're your greatest helpers. Because they're actually making you own your peace at a level that someone who gives in can sometimes be the person that's enabling you to believe that it's about controlling everything outside of you for you to be happy. So sometimes it looks like the people who give in to what you are asking for, you think they're the coolest ones, but they may be unconsciously supporting the idea that everybody else around you needs to change for you to be happy. That's the challenge sometimes in relationships, is that when a person forms a relationship with you and you all just start to get together, you all tell each other you'll do anything you can to make each other happy. And you make all these promises to each other about what you're going to do for each other. And so that can make you even more believe your happiness depends on somebody else's behavior. So it seems real sweet, but it's actually, if you don't look at it correctly, it's keeping your victim consciousness going. Because it's so painful when someone does that for you and then they stop because for some reason you didn't meet their bargain that they were making with you. So all of a sudden they go from looking like they want to please you all the time to doing nothing for you anymore that you like. And then you're devastated. Where if your happiness had never been seen as dependent on them in the first place, you couldn't feel that pain. You wouldn't. You'd be grateful for the loving things that they do, but you no longer see it as being the source of your happiness. I'm grateful for however anybody's loving to me. And I'll tell them over and over again how much I appreciate them, but that doesn't mean for 1 second I'm believing that they're the source of my happiness. I'm just grateful that they want to share love with me. Does that make sense? Look, that's just a slight little change of perspective, but it makes all the difference in the world. In relationship, there'll always be somebody that'll love you. There will always be somebody that will love you. There is no one person that is the center and source of your love, and if you don't have them, you will not be loved. That's a lie. Do not believe that. Do not believe that there's only one person in this world that can love you. There are more people that can love you than you could ever get around to. You just have to start first. I knew it was a catch. Right? Anybody else?
The world is harmless. I cannot be a victim. I am free.
The world is harmless. I cannot be a victim. I am free. Thank you, Brother Billy.
Something within me got triggered for me to be here.
Something in you got triggered for you to be here. We all popcorn in the same skillet. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna pop. Some kernel's the last kernel.
I am awake.
That's good.
I am awake.
In spite of that damn building. If I hear about that building getting blown up, I know who comes looking for.
I would really be awake.
Yeah. I saw a woman with a bun on her head. She was sneaking away in this background when the building went down.
I love what you said about telepathic communication.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The layers.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to visualize telepathically that even though I might not show up as love in your life, in one's life, underneath it, there's love.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Love is the foundation of everything that we're doing. It is. Anybody else?
I have a-
Okay.
Feel it, even though you don't see it.
Feel it even though you don't see it. Yeah.
Which is the part that when you said about the fan.
Yeah. Remember the fan. Did you pull the plug and you may not be giving yourself credit for really having changed, but you have. You see, the class is not a cause. This class is an effect. Everything at the physical level is the end of a thought. It's not the beginning. The last level is the physical level. So by the time we are sitting here physically, that's because we've already changed our mind. I'm sitting here because you changed your mind. And then I showed up to teach a class. It's not the other way around. You already want the truth. So if you never saw me again, you would just manifest somebody else that's doing the same thing, because I am an effect of your thoughts. I'm here because you already have changed your minds. That's the way everything is. As soon as you change your mind, it'll show up. Period. Awesome. Anybody else?
The amount of anxiety and depression and insanity I have is inversely correlated to the amount I practice and study and repeat the truth.
That's right. Absolutely. That's why I tell myself, okay, this is the area that you're not applying the truth. You think you're applying the truth, but you're not. How do I know I'm not? Because I don't have peace. Peace goes with understanding. Where there's no peace, there's no understanding. And good things can happen to you that you don't understand. I'll say it again. Good things can happen to you that you don't understand. You don't always have to understand everything in order to have something good happen to you. So let go of that too, that your understanding is such a powerful contribution to the truth. Okay? Your understanding is not a powerful contribution. But if it's happening, there's a part of you that does understand. And so what we want to do is, we want to give our lives over to the part of us that does love us. And we call that spirit. That's just you that already got its act together. And it's just waiting for you to let it do its thing. But you got to resign as your own teacher, which you will surely do if you'll be honest with yourself about the results of what you've been doing. If you really honestly look at how unsuccessful you've been at making yourself happy consistently, then you really will surrender to your own higher, greater self. You know, but that's a problem if you don't even believe it exists, isn't it? That's why we do spiritual practice. Absolutely. So take a breath, you juicy beings. You are free. You are. I am free. 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 We are free. What? We are free. 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 You deserve to be paid for having fun. You deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having fun. What you say? I deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having fun. Give it up, Holy Spirit. Come on now. Come on now. Give it up. Give it up. May the course be with you. And it's Doug's birthday today.